coming at you today with 6 really wild Steve Howe licks. These licks coming out of the Yes cover of Simon & Garfunkle's America. I've already done a video on part of that song recently, so if you haven't checked that out, there'll be a link to that somewhere floating up around my head. That was kind of like a big run with a load of chords and very much tying 2 sections of the song together, had a load of good exercises in it, but today these are more specific licks that we can add to our trick bag and vocabulary to use in our day-to-day playing. They're very much in the country blues sort of mould, and some really interesting sounds, mixing majors and minors, playing through different keys over different chords. Really interesting stuff. Enjoy this video, please make sure you hit like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all my other content. Also consider checking out my Patreon page where you'll be able to get access to the backing track that I'm using, tab and guitar profiles, and some videos that go into just a little bit more detail on a couple of licks and a few like scale ideas and exercises and things like that. So this first run today I want to look at is very country blues sort of thing. This is over an E chord. All of these runs are going to be over different sorts of chords. So the way I'm thinking about that is all the way up here, got this 19th fret. And again, when it gets into this dusty end, I'm not very good at counting frets. I'm thinking this is based off an E chord. And I'm bending this second, that's E. Bending my second step of the scale, a whole step up to give me my third, and I've got the 5th, which is a classic country sort of sound. Then I'm going to do the same thing at the 12th fret. Super country, super light. Train coming down the tracks. That's kind of based out of that E major. Pentatonic-y sort of box there, E chord. And then back to what we did an octave down, the first thing. Just quite quick jumps basically, so I'm going for 19, 12 and 7. So usually with a lick like that, you come down to your root note with that. Because of the key we're in, because we're in E here, we can play the open E, which he then uses to do this. So he's bouncing the 4th fret, 6th fret on the 3rd string and that open E again. And then 4th fret, 6th fret on the 4th string, and the open E. I might hybrid pick that to give it that sort of country-ish sort of thing. I might hybrid pick the whole lot. Just to give it that sort of pop. Okay, the second lick is now in B, so I'm thinking B major, kind of pentatonic blues sort of area, again coming out of a very country sort of mould here. So I'm going to start bending up my 3rd string at the 6th fret, and then just coming down the major blues scale. And that's a real standard. Kind of bending a little bit more on each note there. This is actually the main thing I want to focus on, this next chunk here. I'm going to come down to here, B and D sharp. Now you may recognise that as like the bottom part of a B7, and that's a major 3rd. I'm going to walk up in 3rds, but with a chromatic step. So I'm going to go major 3rd at B, minor 3rd, so notice the distance of the fingers goes an extra fret, at C sharp, minor 3rd at D, which is chromatic, and then E flat, or D sharp I should say. just real blocky. Then I would worry about kind of getting the delivery of it. He's slurring it loads. He's just sort of picking across. So it is still those notes, but it's just sort of dragging across them. Then we've got a little variation on this. Okay, so this next lick is pretty strange. It's a turnaround, but we're going to do the turnaround in 4 different keys. It's just a device to get us to another key, to do another solo. It's very yes. And kind of on paper, a lot of this just seems like it's randomly like jumping between things, and it kind of is. But it does make sense. It does kind of follow a pattern and a structure, and it just keeps it engaging, keeps it, rather than just being one really long solo, there's these tight little punctuations in it. So we can treat it as just a singular turnaround, and then we just got to transpose it into different keys. So we're going to have A first. I like playing it at the 12th fret. I'm going to play the other ones on the next string set, so we might well be playing them all on the same string set, but it just feels more natural to me here. So I'm going to have fret 12 and fret 10 of strings 5 and 2, so that's an A octave there. And we're going to have like a contrapuntal movement going on. So if you're not familiar with contrapuntal and counterpoint, that is moving in 2 different directions at once. So the higher note is just going to be going up the A major scale. So that's just going 3 notes up, whole step and whole step. The lower note is going to be going down chromatically, so half steps. So that distance between those notes is widening as we go. But not symmetrically, which is really, really cool. So if I glue that together, you get that. Now, I'm not 100% sure, listening to it, if this is 2 guitar tracks on the track, or if he is hybrid picking it or finger picking it. Either would make sense. There is a bit of multi-tracking kind of going on in the track. It is also kind of well within the sort of things Steve Howe does in his playing, with this sort of like moving chords in both directions, like, you know, Roundabout's got a little bit of that in that intro. Something like The Clap's got a lot of that sort of movement in too. So it's worth knowing whether or not that is how he's actually playing it. So what I just need to get used to is picturing both of these movements at once. And it's just quite fiddly because your fingers are crossing over. Going from 3 and 1 to 2 and 3. That's how I like to play it anyway. We're just going to move that between keys. So all I've got to do is find. So we're going to do it in A, we're going to do it in D, we're going to do it in G, and then we're going to do it in E. And that key shifts us eventually back to A for the next solo. So I'm going to play it in A, I'm going to move it up a string, I'm in D. I'm going to move all the way up here to the 17th and 15th fret, and I'm in G, and I'm going to move it to the 14th and 12th, and I'm in A. Now the little thing that it does in between it each time is, which is kind of like our Whole Lot of Love sort of idea. So it does that after each one except for the E. So we're in A, up here at my 14th fret, major pentatonic, and we're going to be mixing some major and minor ideas here because it's kind of got 7th-y sort of things going on, so we're doing a bit of both. I'm going to be bending up this 16th fret, and on the 3rd string going straight up to my 1st string, so I'm skipping that 2nd string in that, which gives us a nice sort of bell-like quality. Then I'm going to bend that again, kind of without pre-bending it, I'm coming down, just coming down the major pentatonic here, so this is a nice symmetrical 16-14, 16-14, 16-14. And then I'm going to come down to my A at the 12th fret, and I'm going to go down chromatically, like we did in that turnaround. That can be a little bit fiddly to get to. And then, after that, so I've just done this 12, 11, 10. I'm going to go 12, 11, 10 again, but on different strings. And that's a really cool, really kind of almost dissonant thing because it's all tritones there. But it's actually coming out of a 7th chord. So that's a really nice kind of, again, way of adding a little bit of tension to a bluesy sort of thing. If you've got a 7th chord, you can chuck that in within reason when it sounds cool, obviously. So this next lick, again, we're going to be mixing some major and minor sort of ideas. This is actually coming out of almost a Chuck Berry-ish sort of area of playing. And it's got 2 different endings, basically. It's the same lick twice, and we're ending on something slightly different each time. It's a little bit awkward, because you've got to have this momentum with your right hand. It's very rhythmically led, but I'm going to do it nice and steady, bit at a time. I'm starting at my 8th fret, and sliding up a fret, which is the minor third to the major third. And then we're going to go down to our root at the 5th fret. And this is like a repeating idea now. I'm going to have the double stop at the 7th fret. And that's straight up old school blues. So I've got 7th fret, 5th fret, kind of barred. I'm not so worried about the 2nd string there, but I'm going to hammer on to the 6th fret in between, so that's a minor major third again, and then the 7th fret, and I'm going to pressure roll back to the 7th fret on the 3rd and 2nd string, so I'm going from 4th to those. Really cool run. And then I'm going to end it on this, which is that same sound, 7th sort of thing. And I'm going to wobble that backwards and forwards at horizontal vibrato. I can either go up a fret or down a fret. Both have a different sound. At the same time, it kind of hits that, but then it goes down to a low G. So it's the same run. So, still in A, I'm up here now in my 12th position, and kind of starting with a minor note, bending it slightly, that kind of like, not quite, is it minor, is it major, it's kind of like, just like, however it feels right. So this is the 13th fret, and that's like a repetitive idea that I've got. That's going to start our different variations of this. So the first ending that I've got is this really nice, just chromatic down. So that's 15th fret, chromatic down to the 12th fret, and then back on that starting note. So that fits really nicely over a minor chord in that sort of context. Second ending, I'm coming down to my 5th position, standard pentatonic box. That was pretty simple. That's a really nice rhythm. that da-da-da, da-da-da. It's almost like a drum fill. And the tough thing there is just getting between them. Then he does his first ending again. And then he repeats an idea here, and I really, really like this. So this is diminished. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take what we did before, I'm going to drop it an octave. So that's C, A, G, C, A, G. So it's now 10, 12, and 10 on the 4th and 5th string. But what I'm going to do to make it diminished sounding is I'm going to play this bottom note a fret lower. So I've got G flat or F sharp. However we want to look at it. That's a really cool sound, just to kind of get a little bit of diminished bluesy sort of stuff. You can kind of come back to any iteration of a sort of playing you want after that. So thanks very much for checking out this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it and that maybe you've picked up some cool ideas for your playing and learned a little bit about Steve Howe's guitar style. If you have enjoyed it, please hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to leave me a comment about any other players you think I should have a look at and maybe do a lesson on. If you haven't already as well, please consider checking out my Patreon page where you'll be able to get access to the backing tracks, guitar profiles and the tab file. And also you'll be just supporting me make more of these sort of videos. I'm enjoying making them. I want to make more of them for you guys. And I'd like to know what you guys want to hear from me, and all your support is very much appreciated. So take care of yourselves, keep practicing, and I will see you all again soon.